Hey, you guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Life Coaching with MDR. I hope you guys are having a good week so far, and I pray it continues to be an amazing, astounding week for you. So, what I want to talk to you guys about today is being teachable and not offended. So, when people are bringing things to your attention, oftentimes it's not to hurt you. Oftentimes when people are bringing things to your attention, it's because something is bothering them that you're doing. And sometimes it's hard for us to accept it like that. We feel like people are picking on us. We feel like people are, being petty, being divisive, trying to create problems or drama. But there's a very powerful quote that says, stop talking to people who are always ready to argue when you bring something to your attention. Because they don't want a resolution. They don't want to change. They don't want to solve it. They want to continue a battle between the minds because they're not ready to change. So, you have people that will bring stuff to your attention, and instead of being offended, try to hear from their perspective of why they said what they said and why they feel what they feel, because you can't tell somebody how you made them feel. You just can't. Words have an impact, and how you move and your actions and what you put in the environment have an impact. And you have to be cognizant of the things that you're doing and how it impacts the people that's in your life. And so you can't be offended when somebody says, I don't like when you use those words. I don't like that when I ask you to do this, that, and this, you choose not to. But then later want to address what I asked you to do months ago and expect me to want to be just as jubilant about the task when I'm over it. Because in your illustrating of putting it off, to me, to you, that meant that you didn't care. I took it as that didn't matter, that what I said wasn't important. And when people start to say all these things, you're like, well, that's not how it was. That's not how I meant it. But what did your actions say? Mouths can say anything. And sometimes we forget that what we're displaying is not aligning with what we're saying. So are you teachable or are you offended? You have to be teachable in this life. You haven't lived long enough to know everything. I say that to a lot of people. And it's amazing to me that when we reach certain milestones, we feel like we're more knowledgeable. Somebody that was just living pillar to post finally are making ends meet, and they looking down on people who live in pillar to post. Now you better than them when you was just there and can be there again. So you got to quit being so arrogant in moments where you should be teachable. You have to put your pride to the side. You have to turn your listening ears on and say, if all these people are saying this, then maybe I should reflect on it. Now, yes, there are some haters. There are some seed planters that will bring things your way that are not true. And you have to ask for discernment in those moments. But sometimes other people are the problem. But sometimes it's you. And that's one of the hardest pills for us to swallow, to realize I may be the problem in this equation. I probably am saying things that are mean and ugly to people when I shouldn't be. I am moving in a certain way that's reckless to the people that's in my life. And so when people bring things to you, be teachable and not offended. Because you have to be conscious of the things that you're putting in the atmosphere. What you plant, you will reap. What you sow, you shall reap. So, don't be so easily offended when somebody is bringing things to your attention. Perhaps you are displaying that. Or it could be anything. It could be on a job and somebody is saying your work is phenomenal, but your mouth hinders people from seeing your good works, your messiness, your pettiness, how you're always moving about to destroy the work environment. Perhaps that's you. And you've done it for so long and nobody has never brought it to your attention, you begin to think it's right. I'm glad I said that. Sometimes we have done things for so long that we forget that they're wrong because no one has ever said it's wrong. So we've moved and done it for so long that it begins to be comfortable and a part of who we are as right. But it's not. And even if you have to pause and reflect today on some things that you know that you're doing that's wrong, that you need to work on and change, do it. It's important. And again, don't be offended when people bring things to your attention that expose who you are. I know I'm an introvert. I don't like foolishness. I'm super peaceful and silly. If I could laugh all day, I would. Because it's just who I am. And if somebody brings something to my attention about me, my first thought is, that's not true. Because I feel like I know myself. But there are times that I've displayed things that didn't align with what I'm trying to show every day. And I have to be cognizant of that and say, okay, well, maybe that person saw me in that moment and was like, see, she's not the sweet girl who know God and X, Y, and Z. And I have to be held accountable for that. So when that person brings that to my attention, I have to own it. Own it. Ownership. Ownership is being accountable for the things that you have done and are doing. Ownership is not a bad word. That's a part of growth, is taking ownership for the things you do, for the things you say, and how you move. So I encourage you and I implore you to be teachable and not offended. Y'all have a good rest of your week. Next time you come back, bring a friend, bring a family member, and let's all grow together. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.